Time to abandon ship.
Oh no!
Here we go!
Can I persuade you to join us for a drink? It's a tradition. Here, here.
Jar Jar, homie, my main man, quickly. Before the Separatists attack, get into the escape pod.
Hey! This is escape, then we're the pod.
Welcome back to Star Wars Escape Pod and the final episode for 2025. And we're going to dive into a look back of 2025 with our friends here at the Escape Pod. On top of that, we might have a little bit of extra time, so we'll maybe preview a bit of what's happening next year, but otherwise we'll save that for next week. In the meantime, we hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas, because this episode will be dropping after the 25th. And we hope you all have a fantastic new year. But in the meantime, let's dive into some Star Wars chat and discussion with the rest of the gang. Let's get into it.
Another happy landing.
All right, welcome back. Hello there, Blake.
Hello.
You hear I snuck in that little liar on there?
I heard that, yeah.
Just wanted to see if it came through. All right, welcome back, Shauna.
Oh, I thought you were.
Hello.
Hello. What do you think?
I thought you were implying that it wasn't such a great year to celebrate.
No, it was fine. It was good. All right, we got Darian coming through on the Hollow Net over here. Hello, Darian.
Sakuragar.
Sakuragar.
How's everyone doing?
Doing good. Doing good. We're hanging in there, I guess. Awaiting the turn of another year. We're never going to get back. So, what a
Is this year that
what a
hard
glass
on you,
half empty way to look at
became
things.
such
But
a pessimist.
yeah, I guess so.
Pessimistic for you there this morning, Josh.
Well, and joining us from down under is our good friend Kirk. Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Nice. Did you guys hear an echo?
I heard an echo.
Yeah, a little bit of an echo, but there's no such thing as too many hello there's.
Never.
We should probably mention, I guess, this past year, this has been a milestone year, as we've hit not only 6 years of doing Star Wars Escape Pod, but we also hit 400 episodes not too long ago. And I feel like we've let enough time go by with the limited amount of votes that we had come in to finally announce the winner to our game show. Yeah, so big congratulations to Ben and Ellen with their Beefy Boys team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was really hoping for Phil.
Taking the cake. Phil is probably, I think he was a close second.
Was he a runner-up?
He's a runner-up. Honorable mention to the Outriders.
Yes.
But if anyone hasn't listened through the episode 400 game show, definitely give that a listen. It was fun to do. And Darian over here was responsible for arranging that and putting that on. So thank you again to Darian.
Not a problem. If we do it again, I'm going to have a little bit more structure to it.
Awesome. I look forward to...
Spoken like a true GM.
Yeah, exactly. I look forward to episode 450 or something like that. 425. I don't know. Another milestone. Yeah. 501. We got to do something cool for 501.
That's true.
Yeah.
That should be our Dungeons and Dragons in Star Wars universe, if we're going to do something.
We could do a D&D game where we play as the troopers attacking the temple.
Exactly. That would be a lot of fun.
And we do it with a guest from the 501st.
Oh, that'd be fun, yeah.
Yeah.
They could lead the charge.
They could play
Anakin.
Liar!
Yeah, that's why. I just wanted that. Too many people.
So now that you've hit 400 episodes, does that mean you're going to really ramp up the merchandising?
The merchandising needs a revisit. I feel like one of the questions, I guess. Okay, here's a question for you guys.
Merchandising, where the real money.
I was waiting for that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, somebody did it. So, like this past year, as any other year, we've always got a lot of cool Star Wars toys that hit the market and hit the shelves. Kirk, what was the coolest thing that you saw come out as a toy this past year?
Oh wow, throw me on the spot here. Well, I don't have a toy specifically, but does going to Galaxy's Edge does that kind of count? Like looking at all the merchandising.
Yeah,
there,
sure. I mean, yeah. What's the coolest thing that you saw there? Yeah.
There's so much stuff. I think I was actually quite shocked that you could go into the parks and like fully like buy like your own like Jedi robes and cloak and everything like that. I wasn't expecting that, but then also like the lightsaber selection there. I didn't do like the building one. I didn't actually end up buying anything too crazy. But yeah, I was shocked at how you could actually fully kit yourself up, kit yourself out by the time you left the park. So that was definitely a surprise. I'm trying to think of all the other things. Oh, and all the helmets. Like I didn't realize there was so many helmets that you could buy as well, or like the busts, I guess.
Yeah,
I see a lot of them here in Australia, but like there was definitely like tons of them that I hadn't actually seen before. So that was kind of cool looking at all of those at the parks.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think I picked you on one of those, the little Yoda ones, right?
The brass one?
Yeah, little bust.
Yeah, I did get one of those. That's right.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, cool. All right, Darian, what's the coolest Star Wars toy you saw come out?
I love that HasLab 8 LAATI. That I really wanted to buy that, but I just couldn't afford it. Coolest thing I bought was the Beach Trooper helmet.
Oh, nice. Oh. Okay, yeah, Shore Trooper. Yeah, that was
Shore Trooper. Sorry,
it's a cool one. I had my eye on that one.
Was that Black Series? Or was that, I didn't even know they released it.
Yeah. Yeah, it barely fits my giant head.
Well, yeah.
Actually, it doesn't count. It doesn't count as a toy, but the Star Wars and the Columbia collection. I can't buy that here, but apparently that looked. I saw it looked really really cool.
Oh yeah, so, that's a good one to bring up. Yeah. Any kind of merchandising. Yeah, the Columbia, the Return of the Jedi Andor line, because I guess last year they did the Hoth like Empire lineup, and this year was the Rebels inspired Andor lineup. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Wonder when they'll bring out the Gorman lineup.
Savage. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Shauna, what was the coolest Star Wars toy that you had your eye on this year? And maybe you actually bought it.
I didn't have an eye on any toys, honestly, but like similarly, I also went to Galaxy's Edge this year.
Nice.
When I made the trip down.
Yeah.
But I do remember seeing, I feel like it was like the Tatooine versions of like the ears and like the shirts and stuff like that. And I really liked the look of that merchandise. I didn't end up buying any, but even though I wanted to, but I did get a like Death Star ears and brought those home from Disney.
They light up?
No, they don't light up, but they would have been cool if they had.
Nice.
Like the Death Star beam.
Yeah, like a little green LED in there for the laser.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
That would have been kind of neat.
People as you walk by.
I don't know. So much stuff comes out in a year. Like it's hard for me to kind of say. I don't know. Like, can you think of anything?
Well, the Scout Trooper helmet came out this year. And I'm very excited about that.
Yes, that's a good one. Yeah, because both of us bought that.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that one for a long time.
Right.
Was Rex this year as well, or was that last year?
Ooh, yeah. You know what? I think it may have
been spring.
Or possibly
late last year, somewhere around there.
I think it. Yeah, you're right. I think it could have been this year. If it was this year, it's only because it was delayed. I feel like it was maybe
it's true.
Because sometimes they announce these helmets like a year in advance.
Well,
and so
right now I was just looking at Cody. It's been advertised for a while.
Right. Yeah, and it's still not out.
Yeah.
Right. I guess. But I guess Darian was saying not too long ago that people in the U.S. are starting to receive those. Is that what you were saying, Darian?
Yeah, I saw almost a month ago that somebody posted a video online of the Cody helmet that they got off Amazon.ca.
Right.
And I found it, .com. And I found that I could order it and have it shipped overnight to Canada from the American site.
Then sell it for a premium.
Yeah. I guess including in the merchandise, I'll just throw it out there just to be recognized. But one of the big merchandise releases that we had this year was the end of the High Republic multimedia project. So there was
I always forget that ended this year.
The meat and potatoes today obviously is 2025 a year in review, just so that we actually make time for that and not squeeze that out at the very end. We'll kind of go over it now. But one of the big things that was announced this past year was the trailer, obviously, for The Mandalorian and Grogu. That was a big one. Only a few months out from the release of that film. So who's here looking forward to that?
Oh wait, that's not end of year. That's is that in May?
It's May. Yeah, it's a next year thing, but the trailer came out this year, so I guess it generated a lot of like hype. I almost played it there by accident. Generated a lot of hype for the movie. Yeah, I don't know, Kirk. You looking forward to that film next year? What was your reaction when you saw the trailer for that film?
I'm looking forward to it. I think a lot of it is probably a bit of nostalgia, hearing the theme again. I'm more optimistic about this movie than I was when I first saw the season 3 trailer. So, but it is very hard to top the first and second season. So, but it'll be good to see Mando on the big screen.
Yeah, we also had the announcement of Star Wars Starfighter, which entered production. Blake, are you looking forward to Sean Levy's Star Wars movie with Ryan Gosling?
I am. I'm curious. I really feel like that era needs fleshing out and some love.
Because this is post Episode 9.
Exactly. Yeah. So I feel like that whole area in general could use some love. So I'm excited to see something fresh in that, and I'm hoping it'll be an emotional reset, at least for myself.
Yeah.
That being said, I would have preferred if we got the Rogue Squadron movie, and I'm hoping that it's not a replacement for it.
Yeah, you're referring to Patty Jenkins.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that so much. I thought that'd be so cool.
Right. Yeah, that's been shelved for a while, I guess. But
long time. After that really emotional hype trailer they put out, and then just nothing.
Yeah. Well, this one's star-studded. It's got Mia Goth, Matt Smith, Amy Adams, and Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, Guy Rosling's in there.
Yeah. So, pretty neat. Shauna, we celebrated 20 years of Revenge of the Sith this past year, which was quite a milestone for that film. And what do you think about the 20-year anniversary, seeing it again in the theater?
Oh, I loved it. Because I only vaguely remember seeing it originally in theaters. And I would have been pretty young at the time, so to see it as an adult, and then it was fun going with friends who were also just as into it, and it was cool to see it up on the big screen again. Yeah.
The re-release opening to an estimated $42.2 million worldwide. That's a pretty big bump, box office. Hey, there's
a lot of nostalgia for those movies now, I think.
Yeah,
I think a lot of renewed appreciation for the movie as well, because they went through that slug of all this crap, right? A lot of people didn't really care as much for it, and
post Phantom Menace till probably the mid 2010s.
Yeah. So then there's that block, and maybe also just I guess a lot of people also didn't from that generation that grew up with the prequels. Didn't like the sequels as much, and so then it was okay, gotta go back to these, even though the OG ones are still the best ones.
It's funny how history repeats itself a bit there.
Yep.
Yeah, and apparently they squeezed another $40 million out of the group of us, so that's not bad.
True.
Attendees also had the opportunity to experience 4DX the first time. I did opt for the 4DX experience. That's when you have the
Smell-o-vision?
Moving chairs. Smell-o-vision is technically true 4D, but they didn't have that, at least in our theater.
What do you think most of?
Wait, did you do 4D for Revenge of the Sith?
I did, yeah. Again, there was no smells, so technically it's not 4D. It's just 4DX, which is the moving chair. But
do you have a detailed account of what happened during the Order 66 scene? What kind of movement did you experience there?
The chair was fairly slow during that scene. I didn't feel any jolts when the heads of the younglings were popping off, but it did include 21 effects, which immersed me in the movie unlike ever before.
Wow. What about the Obi-Wan Anakin fight?
That was all over the place.
Did your butt feel like you were there in the moment?
I felt like I was sitting on a flying rock above the lava river, just cruising, having those flows with the camera. I don't know. I think the opening scene
I just feel like the chair's having a seizure.
The opening scene where the camera kind of follows the starfighters and then points down into the battle. I think that was probably the coolest.
That would have been the best.
Right at the beginning?
Yeah, right at the beginning. It's all right, the hype's over. I paid $20 for this.
Vibrate with the war drums?
Yeah. Oh, man. If I could crank that thing higher, I probably would have. yeah, but
vibrate the whole theater.
Yeah, the opening scene was the best part of that chair. Unfortunately, they didn't sync the chair to the screen, what was happening on the screen. So they'd bank left and the chair would move right. It's like,
do they make custom tracks like for those for the movies? Like they'll have like a Revenge of the Sith track, but for 4D chairs.
They do.
That's insane. So so there's some guy like in a lab just like trying to figure out which way the chairs move, like when there's like a light saying the swinging moment.
Yep. Oh, I picture it as somebody watching the movie, and as they're watching the movie, they've got like a programming joystick that they're able to like move around as they think that it should react, you know? And then it's like training like a program, I guess, to do exactly what he's doing with the controls, but then it repeats the process through the film, right? Like that's how I imagine how it works.
But is it one and done because they're going the wrong direction?
Oh, but I'm sure they probably have like, it probably drops keyframes and
they get one chance. They get the big moments in the movie, and then like all the effects are just like a second delayed.
Yeah, exactly. No, they could probably slide them around after the fact. I imagine like a little bit of time probably went into it, but not much. I mean, it's probably very automated these days to make it streamlined.
I remember the last time I did it was when I watched Avatar: Way of Water, and like by the end of it, I was like soaked because it was just spraying water like the entire time. And
That's
my
such a
ribs,
terrible rain jacket for that.
and my ribs were
Sounds like
my ribs were so
SeaWorld.
sore during the whole thing afterwards because like I was just being thrown around. But it was funny because there was this like old lady sitting next to me that I didn't know, and I could see you could turn off the water every time, and then I was looking down, and every time she turned it off a few minutes later I'd turn it back on again, and then she'd be surprised why she kept getting sprayed with water. I'm like, you need to experience this whole movie. I'm not going through this on my own.
That's so funny.
All right, so another big thing that happened this year was we finally had the conclusion to the story of Cassian Andor. Kirk, how did you enjoy the second and final season, which debuted earlier this year?
Oh, I think I can say I enjoyed it so much that I think I've watched season 2 like 3 times this year now, and I've watched Rogue One twice. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it's definitely the highlight of the year for me.
What is that lady in the theater, right? Amazing. All right.
Okay. No, that was the previous year, Josh, but we don't talk about that.
The triumphant, jaw-dropping thriller chronicling the early days of the Rebel Alliance and settling the stage for the events of Rogue One. You said that you rewatched Andor and Rogue One with your dad not too long ago. Do you have a story to share about that?
Yeah. He hasn't watched too much Star Wars in ages. I think the last thing he saw was probably The Force Awakens, or maybe even Rogue One in theaters, but he wouldn't remember them. And like he's in his 60s now, so like he's definitely become a little bit more disassociated with Star Wars. So I kept pushing him, you should watch Andor. You don't have to watch any other Star Wars to kind of get it. And then like we watched the first 3 episodes, and then we were done by the second season. And he was itching to watch Rogue One straight after we finished the final episode. And yeah, he I think it's one of his favorite shows for this year. So it just shows kind of how accessible it was, at least. And yeah, he was because he actually forgot what happened in Rogue One, and then when it was getting towards the end, he looked at me. He's like, "Oh, Kirk, like they all." Oh, spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen Rogue One. He looks at me. He's like, "Oh, they all die at the end, don't they?" I'm like, "I'm not saying anything." So.
Very delayed.
Yeah. So, but he liked it, and then I told him before we started Rogue One, like, one of the characters in the movie isn't actually there. Like, it's a completely like CG character. And by the end of it, he was like, "Oh, it was Princess Leia at the end, wasn't it?" I was like, "Oh no, there's actually 2 characters that were," and he didn't actually realize that Tarkin was CG. Obviously, we can all tell, but. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Then that's a tribute to the work put into that film, I guess, with that character.
And that was very early on with trying to resurrect.
Yeah, like that was 9 years ago now. I mean, technically longer if you count the time it would have taken from the start to finish of making that.
And then they still recast Jimmy Schmitz.
Don't think they had quite the same budget, but
probably not.
Yeah. a good.
What was the reason in the end? How come he wasn't in Andor? Because it surely wasn't a scheduling problem.
No, the reason was well, actually, it was. I believe it was a scheduling problem. Allegedly, it is, but I guess the reason why they just recast him was that he was, according to Tony, just really crucial to his story that he wanted to tell, and it would have. I think, in my opinion, also would have been a bit strange if they had focused in on Coruscant that much and he didn't show up at all. That would have probably been.
I mean, if they wrote out the character.
Yeah, that would have been, I think, in my opinion, more strange than.
Is it controversial for me to say that I actually preferred Benjamin Bratt as the character?
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I feel like I did enjoy Jimmy Smits throughout like the prequels, and he played like a good character there, but I felt like especially as Bail Organa throughout those scenes on Yavin where they were arguing amongst each others, I felt like his like gravitas was a lot stronger and firmer than what Bail Organa than what Jimmy Smits's performance would have been. But then again, like I was also watching Mon Mothma in Ahsoka, so like after. You know, the same Genevieve O'Reilly plays that character, and like the Mon Mothma in Ahsoka versus the Mon Mothma in Andor in terms of like writing is completely different as well, even though they're played by the same person. So maybe that has to do with the fact that I've just preferred Benjamin Bratt's performance at least. Maybe
That's probably part of it. It is a much older audience compared to Rebels. I feel like it's a very massive difference.
Yep.
But even, I would feel like even the prequels versus Andor. Andor, I feel like is really shooting for an adult audience.
Mm-hmm.
Very gritty.
Very much, yeah.
Well, but yeah, even so, not like any one of them is not good. Like I think they both played really well. But I enjoyed his performance in Andor.
Yeah, it was very well done. Yeah. The show earned 14 Emmy Award nominations and 5 wins. Yeah, there you go.
Jedi scum.
Wait, that's not right.
Back in January, Star Wars Skeleton Crew brought our favorite group of far-flung kids, Wim, Neil, Fern, and KB, back home to Aten after spending an entire season lost in space. There was quite the interesting conclusion to the show. So, Darian, what did you think of Skeleton Crew? I mean, when that came out, how much of a fun time did you have with that one?
I loved it. It was a little too much Star Trek and none of Star Wars, but it was definitely a fun Goonies version in a sci-fi universe.
Do you mind
we also got to see some stuff in there. Sorry?
Do you mind expanding on that? I'm curious what you mean by too Star Trek-y.
Like the aesthetics where everything was super clean and not lived in, even down to like the way the mechanics of the droids and the ships and stuff on Aten.
I think we did talk about that.
It was very Star Trek-y.
On Aten itself, you're referring to.
Yeah.
But like, what about off-planet? When we're like on the Onyx Cinder or any of the other Old Republic planets?
The Onyx Cinder was pretty Star Wars, but it was still sleek and clean and everything. But yeah, it was a weird balance that we haven't had before. I really did enjoy it, though.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, it was. I know it got a lot of rave for the the Major Tom trailer music or something that they used.
It was similar to that.
I love that somebody spent the time to translate that in the Adi.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. I know. Do I have it here? I wonder. Yeah, here it is. Here it is.
Tricks don't work, gonna make all the money.
It goes with the song. Yeah.
Is anybody hoping for a season 2?
Nice. You know, I think I'm good. I mean, like it was fun, like you say, but like I think I'm okay. I don't really need a second season of that show. I don't know. Do you guys feel like you wanted a second season out of that, or would you be happy if it was kind of continued in a different show? Maybe the characters show up elsewhere.
Yeah,
I think it'd be better.
Yeah,
I think so too. I don't just where it kind of left off. It doesn't really seem like a need to continue it.
Yeah, like the kids got home.
Like
and
how do you stretch that into a season?
Right.
Like maybe an extra episode or something like that. You could get away with like whatever happened at the end, but like it just doesn't seem like you have enough content there to stretch it over another like however, whatever, how many episodes? 8?
Yeah.
Episodes?
And they were stretched really
They were
thin.
stretched even
because
in
there
that,
was only 2 episodes in the whole season that actually cracked over 35 minutes. And that was that was a bit of a shocker because most of the shows we've seen so far, I mean, my biggest complaint with the Disney Plus shows is that they do stretch them really thin, almost like they're trying to hit that 8-episode mark. There were episodes we watched that the true runtime of the footage we saw was only like 20-something minutes.
Once you remove
the intro, the flash, the recap, the 10-minute credit reel, it's like, man, this is only like, we're getting gypped here.
I also wanted a bit more of that character from The Mandalorian that was in the crossover, the pirate.
Oh, is it Vane? The Pirate King Gorian show?
Vane, that's it.
Yeah, I just looked it up real quick.
So, like, with this show, like, I guess, is there, like, what are you hoping for, Darian? I guess with what happened with Jude Law's character, you know, he gets the lightsaber at the end, you know, he's got no way off the planet. Like, what are you hoping for out of, you know, the continuation of that story?
I think we're getting Crimson Jack in the Dave Filoni movie. That's where I think we're going to see him next, as like a more minor character, because they're going to be gathering the big heavy hitters for that movie. I don't think we're going to get anything else. Maybe a comic book would be kind of cool with him. See the adventures of Crimson Jack building his empire, or like a prequel idea, because that is an interesting character. But I honestly don't think we're getting anything other than maybe a cameo in the Filoni movie.
Blake, Skeleton Crew was not the only thing that came out this past year, but we also had the Tales of the Underworld animated series debut, which had 2 story arcs in it. One from Asajj Ventress, depicting a tale, I guess, during her time in the Dark Times, you know, when the Empire first takes over. And then we also had an origin story for Cad Bane before he becomes one of the most notorious bounty hunters in the galaxy. So it seems like they've kept that pattern of releasing another short animated show like on a yearly basis.
Yeah, it's kind of keeping the Clone Wars flame alive.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, yeah. Until another Bad Batch-esque show kind of hits the Disney Plus. But yeah, what did you think of that one?
Well, I think you and I shared our gripes about the bringing back the Asajj Ventress. I really enjoyed the Cad Bane episodes. So it was fun to see kind of what led to him being the notorious bounty hunter and adding a bit of humanity to him, because he's always been the badass, but he definitely there's not a lot more depth to him than that, I guess.
Yeah. That was interesting to see him in a more vulnerable stage, I guess.
And in a relationship.
Yeah, that's true. Very good. All right, we had the announcement of Maul Shadow Lord coming next year. This was, I guess...
I just don't know what they're going to do with this character. I feel like Maul's been like all over the place.
Yeah, I think you and Darian kind of feel the same way about that. You felt that way too, Darian, right?
Sorry, I'm looking forward to the Maul Shadow Lord, but it's weird that they're going there now.
Right.
Is this the in-between, like, Ahsoka kind of lets him go at the end of, like, the Clone Wars show, and then, like, into, like...
But it has to be before Rebels.
Right. Oh, right.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I don't know if they're going to show the rise and fall, or... I don't know. That's the thing. I feel like they've just spitballed this character in so many different time frames that now his storyline is, like, kind of told, but simultaneously not threaded. And so it feels a little clunky.
He almost has one of the longest storylines out of anybody, but it's just...
Yeah, and but
it's so spread.
And he's doomed to fail over and over again. So I already know it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
So, I guess he can't be a Mandalorian because he's dead.
Yeah, what did you think of Rebuild the Galaxy, Pieces of the Past? Did you watch that?
I did not.
Dropping the ball here. Okay. Who watched this?
Dies with thunderous applause.
Or the sound of bricks falling sadly.
That'd be more accurate.
This is the Lego one, right?
Yeah, this is the Lego one. Yeah.
This is the conclusion. I think it was was it a sequel or the third one?
This was the sequel. This is the second one. Yeah.
So we can expect one more.
Possibly. I don't know. I mean, I feel like
it's all wrapped up.
It felt kind of resolved. Yeah, sort of in its own way. I don't know. Like Darian,
they had to reintroduce a new villain.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
which I thought was pretty cool. He's basically a Sith Lord version of Cad Bane.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. Yeah. Darian, did you watch this Pieces of the Past?
I did. Yeah, I watched everything but the last episode. I loved season 1. Season 2 was pretty good. It just didn't grab me the same way.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Shauna? Did you watch this one?
No, actually, I forgot all about this one, to be honest.
Yeah, you're gonna go home and watch this now.
I might have to, yeah.
Did you watch the first one? No.
This is why we have these year-end chats.
Right, that's the thing.
Yeah. They even had
comprehensive review. Is it worth watching?
Yeah, that's a better question. Should I actually watch it?
I mean, like, if you like Lego humor, then it's totally worth watching.
Okay,
but
then
if
I
you
guess I'll have
don't,
to watch it.
like, if you've never played a video game from Lego in your life and you're not sure about it, then it might not be your thing. But if you've enjoyed, like, the Lego games and, like, that kind of storytelling, then, yeah, it's probably going to be very enjoyable.
It's well written and it has a good cast.
Okay.
It does, yeah. There's some nice voice cameos, too.
I was just looking at some of the voice actors that are in it. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know that person. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got a really good cast for it. And they did a lot of fun, because it's supposed to be like an inverted version of the Star Wars galaxy. So there's like Vader's a Jedi, like Palpatine's a Jedi, and you get like Darth Jar Jar, which of course everyone's clamoring for.
Yeah. Right. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. I guess I know what I'm doing when I go home.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. And Luke is like a surfer dude.
Yeah.
Just completely changed all their personalities.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
So the third animated project that came out this
and
past...
Leia got together with Greedo.
Oh, yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
You gotta watch it now.
I need backstory on that one.
Yeah, everything's kind of backwards in that.
I guess that means that Han didn't shoot first in that galaxy.
Yeah, it looks like...
Didn't even make it.
Oh, man. Poor guy. The third animated project that came out this year was Star Wars Visions Volume 3 that returned in October. We had, most recently, that was our biggest, I guess, in episode length, I think. We went over the full volume in one podcast episode, which was our habit, I guess, or our tradition in the past. You know, we did like one episode to kind of knock out our opinion on all the shorts, and so I went back and added album artwork to each volume. So we got a volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3 review now with you, me, and Bryce.
I recall there was 1 or 2 episodes that really stood out, which I guess is kind of
it's always the
common
case
for these.
Yeah.
But I feel like overall I enjoyed them less than like the first 2. From the first one I liked a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Did anyone else here watch volume 3? Visions? No. Yeah, Kirk, Darian, no.
I think we're dropping the ball here.
Oh my goodness, this is a Star Wars podcast.
Yeah,
nobody watches Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
The only Visions stuff I saw was like, this is like more of a negative thing, but was like how this fan film like had a similar choreography to one of the Visions episodes.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah,
that's the only thing I saw.
That was a crazy story that came out after. Yeah, I guess we didn't talk about it. Did we talk about it during the? I forget if we talked about that.
No, we didn't find out till later.
Yeah. I think we found out after the fact, but that was a crazy piece of news. Okay, so Celebration was earlier this year in Japan. Kirk, you were actually there in Japan, but not for Celebration.
No, I was there a week early, so I missed that too.
Yeah, exactly.
I was in the UK for Celebration London, and I didn't go to it either.
Oh my gosh, you guys, like, man, how is Star Wars not in the forefront of your mind every second of all the time? Like,
I know.
I'm kidding.
You're number one.
They had interviews with the cast of The Mandalorian and Grogu, Star Wars Starfighter. Ryan Gosling showed up. They showed pictures of his Star Wars bedsheets when he was a kid. They caught up with fan favorites like Rosario Dawson. They were talking a little bit about season 2 of Ahsoka. They had Anthony Daniels himself as C-3PO once again. Almond Best came out. That's Jar Jar Binks. Also Kelleran Beck now. He's got a Jedi character under his belt.
Kelleran Binks.
Kelleran Binks. They have a comic book coming out in January which pairs the two up. And
nice.
I'm very much looking forward to get him to sign it twice.
You have to pay twice for that.
Do you know what I'm kind of looking forward to is like in the future Star Wars medium where they bring back Jar Jar Binks, but they have it in like all the updated CGI and everything like that. I'd like to kind of see that.
The ultra realistic, gritty version of Jar Jar.
Like Jar Jar 20 years later. Yeah, no, that would be really interesting to see. Like, I guess how it would. I mean, it would look, I guess, a little more lifelike. But
I wonder if ILM would take the original models and then like upgrade them from there, or just start from scratch, like from like a technology standpoint. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that would be an interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they still have the model. Yeah.
Somebody has done a high detail rendering of Jar Jar, and it's pretty awesome. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Haven't. Yeah. Send in the chat. And he also, of course, returned as Darth Jar Jar in the Rebuild the Galaxy series, and he returns again in the sequel, Rebuild the Galaxy. So that was Piece of the Past. So that was cool. And for the first time ever, people got their hands on a Lego minifigure of him as Darth Jar Jar in the recently released Dark Falcon set. Was that this? That was this past year, right?
I think so.
Was that this past year? Yeah, it was this past year, I think, right?
No, I think it was the year before.
Was it year before?
Oh, it was the last year?
Yeah, this
okay.
year they did the snow speeder with the flames.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that was a cool event. Attendees also got their first look at the final season of Andor while they were there, and a little glimpse at the next animated series of Maul Shadow Lord. The new Star Wars novels, mangas, art books, and video games were announced, as well as the upcoming Star Wars video game called Zero Company, which will be essentially like XCOM, but for Star Wars fans. So that's kind of cool. I know AJ is really excited about that.
Updates on that Star Wars game that we haven't heard about in a decade.
Yeah, we had a few game announcements recently. But yeah, I mean, is anyone really excited for Zero Company here? Anyone in the group that's like stoked about like a semi-strategy tactical game?
Absolutely my bag. I love that idea so much. I miss Imperial Assault and all that.
Nice. Yeah. So this is a single-player turn-based tactics video game. It's coming to PS5, PC, Xbox Series X and S. Developed by Bit Reactor in collaboration with Respawn Entertainment, also known as the same studio that did the Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor games. And in collaboration with Lucasfilm Games, Zero Company will tell an original gritty Clone Wars era story featuring a brand new, rather ragtag set of heroes. We cannot wait to play it next year. So that was pretty neat.
What's the date on that for release?
There is no date other than just the year 2026. So I'm guessing probably, if I was to take
probably
a guess,
November, with my thoughts.
Maybe.
Well, that and considering they're also releasing 2 more games next year?
Yes, yeah. So there's 2 more announcements that we got this year, and yeah, one of them is coming out next year. The other one is
it 2020?
Further down the road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I missed the date on that one.
2037. Yeah. The Adventures of Kay Vess continued with the DLC expansions in Star Wars Outlaws: A Pirate's Fortune, which teamed everyone up with Hondo Onaka. I actually didn't play this DLC only because
That's right up your alley.
Well, it is, but
you dropped the ball here, John. No, that's not good.
I know. Yeah,
that's controversial. What the hell?
Man.
The base game did not impress me enough to drop another $40 on the game to get the DLC, if that makes any sense. So I just didn't bother. But maybe if it ever goes on sale for
$3,
I'd be like 10, 12. Like then it's like, yeah, sure, whatever. But it'll be a while because it's still fairly new. The game also released to the Nintendo Switch 2 this past fall, and people wanted more of ND5 and Nyx, so they also announced a novel that was called like Red Moon or like something or another like that. It's going to be a prequel to the Outlaws game featuring ND5 and his master or whatever, forget his name. So the smuggler kind of guy in the game. You guys played it, right? No, you didn't play it.
No, I didn't.
You didn't play it. No. Dropping the ball here.
I haven't had as much time at the end of this year as I would have liked.
I know Darian didn't play it, and then Kirk, did you play it? You didn't play it, right?
I still have not. This is Outlaws, right?
Yeah.
No, I still haven't. I still haven't bought or played it. Is it worth after the hype and all that? Is it worth me?
The bug fixes.
I think now they've fixed it up a lot. So I think the things that really irked me about the game have now probably since been like smoothed out 75%. So I feel like if I was to recommend the game to anybody, that's my first note, is like the main issues that a lot of initial problems were kind of coming up from are probably gone. But I still feel like the game has a lot of repeat open world incidents, which are not necessarily
as long
something.
As it's not as repetitive as Force Unleashed 2, I think we're good.
No, it's not. Well, Force Unleashed 2, those games are very much on the rails of the story, and whereas this game is open world. But when you do an open world game, it can be tricky to fill the world with interesting things, and that's something that I guess I really like the idea of an open world game, but you still need to construct an open world game around a rails system and not have too many incidents of repeating events in that world, you know, and that's, I think, where they kind of struggled a little bit. But I mean, if you're really just sticking to the main campaign and not wandering off and not pursuing every single side mission, you're not going to burn yourself out. The main campaign was entertaining. It was a good story. The game looks great.
Is it one of those games where if you don't do the side missions, you'll be too underpowered to complete the main mission?
No, not at all. Okay. I think in that case, it was fine.
Okay.
There are some side missions that you do.
Time I went into the first Oblivion game.
Do you have 90 hours for me to talk about the first Oblivion game?
Gate. No, the first Gate.
Oh.
In Kvatch. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. All right. ILM delivered an exciting immersive experience with the VR Beyond Victory mixed reality playset game. We don't have Dan here to share a little bit about that, so we're going to probably talk to him next year because I think he was going to do it. But this was the first ever pod racing game since the pod racing game, or Pod Racer Revenge. Did anyone here play that back when that came out?
Was that on like the GameCube, or were we thinking?
It was like, yeah, it was like, I think it was. I think it was GameCube.
I remember it.
PS2 maybe.
Yeah, or like around that.
Yeah, and since then they've been I think, well, at least the first one has been republished to Steam, and I believe they got a Switch remaster, you know, in quotes, because it's not really a true remaster. It's more of like a republish and a port, but. Yeah, that game came out again on the Switch, I think, recently. But this was the first pod racing game to come out since then. It was kind of an interesting experience. I don't have a Quest 3 or Quest 3S, so I wasn't able to play it. But I have played all the other VR games since before this one, and they've all been pretty great. So I'm assuming that this one is also kind of cool. The first mysterious cinematic trailer revealing one of the two upcoming games that Shauna was hinting about is the first one, Fate of the Old Republic. Which is a successor in spirit to Knights of the Old Republic. It's brought by the same director, but different studio, and also not a direct sequel to KOTOR 2, because of course this is going to be a game that exists within the canon space. And
that's so confusing.
I mean, I guess it's inspired by the lore that they've possibly built within KOTOR, but it also needs to fit within the new canon continuity.
I feel like at that point, why don't you just make it not canon? And keep it with the original one.
Because that's what Tor is for.
Yeah, I want to ignore Tor and just have an actual sequel to it.
You're not the only one who probably wants to do that, but Tor is the sequel to KOTOR.
Yeah, but any MMO ends up in the same position.
Oh yeah.
Over time, it just becomes nonsense.
Right. So this is a single player, very narratively driven game. I know a lot of people are really excited about this, but does anyone here want to throw in their 2 cents about Fate?
I don't know. It's on my list though.
It's on your list.
I am looking forward to this one.
All right.
I'm curious how much of it from the original 2 games is going to continue into this.
I think
pseudo sequel.
Some bits of lore I would imagine would, like
Revan.
Oh yeah.
He was almost canonized in Clone Wars.
Yeah. Like there's certain big
the characters from that era.
Yeah, and there's certain things that, like, I know in episode 9 they paid tribute to a lot of the Old Republic lore with the naming of certain Sith trooper armies or divisions, you know, the legions, the different legions. Like they had like the Revan Legion, or maybe it was the ship or something that was called after the old Sith Lords, right? So like they've sort of canonized them in spirit and in the lore they have existed. It's just like, in what capacity have they existed, and what did they look like, and you know, how long ago and when, and there's a lot of things that people don't really know still.
What about the Sith race?
I believe that's still very much in the lore. It's kind of canonized. Yeah.
Okay, because I know that was the thing that they kind of introduced on their own.
Yeah, I don't believe it's just
that's EU.
Yeah, I mean, but the temples are still, you know, there, like on Yavin, right? Like that's always been a thing. So I wonder if maybe they'll go and round trip and tell another story about that. But yeah, who knows?
Mandalorian Wars?
No idea.
Yeah.
No. Galactic Racer was the other one, which is getting a launch. That's the one coming out next year. So this is going to feature Sebulba in the story. Sebulba actually did show up in the Beyond Victory game as well. So I think they were setting him up to show up in this game with the VR game. So that's cool. It's less of a pod racing game and more of just like a general racer game. But it's pretty cool that they are kind of in a successor way, just following in the footsteps of the pod racing games and just expanding outwards to a generalized Star Wars racing type game, which is super cool. From the trailer, it looks like it does take place on Jakku and a number of other planets. I don't really know when this takes place, but Sebulba's an old man, so we can probably assume
they're racing on Jakku.
And we can definitely assume it's after the Battle of Jakku because we see down Star Destroyers on the planet. So I imagine it's probably
still alive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that like?
It's.
I mean, I guess it depends on his species. How long do they live, right?
Yeah, like Doug's. Yeah, I don't know, 200-300 years. I don't know if it's
like, that long.
Who knows? Rate, Who knows? Yeah, I have no idea. But
with his lifestyle on Tatooine.
It's that athlete's body. It's like, I mean,
I don't know. I think he mostly
we're talking about an alien F1 racer here. He's got
not F1, man. These are more like
he's
NASCAR
got top of the line, biology going on. I mean, he's fit. He's on a lean diet.
He's funded by a crime lord.
In the summer, we had the end of Phase 3 of the High Republic publishing project, which was kind of a big one. Darian, did you end up reading any of the High Republic stuff?
Not really. The only new book I read this year was that horrible one about Mon Mothma.
Right, that's right.
You read that too, right?
I actually liked it. I thought it was good. Yeah, I think that was kind of the biggest. I think that was the most interesting opinion I've heard about the book. But I can also see where you're coming from because the same author had wrote Battlefront Twilight Company, and I know we both struggled with that one majorly. So I can definitely see where you're coming from, from a technical
It just kind of turned a character that I was like, I really wanted to know more about and kind of excited. Like there's stuff here that they've seeded into the shows, and it made me like kind of hate that character. And don't get me wrong, like I think she's exactly who the rebellion needs for like the original trilogy era, but when they get to the New Republic and she's trying to demilitarize everything, and it's like, no, the Empire still exists. There's still pirates and still need your military.
What did you think of the announcement for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, Blake?
Just in general?
Just in general, yeah. Like, are you looking forward to the event? We're going to go to Celebration.
That's the plan. I know we say that every time.
They're supposedly...
That's the plan.
Where's Celebration again?
Celebration
LA.
In 2 years from now, they're going to be doing it in LA, yeah. And they will be screening in that same year. This is probably going to be global, like Revenge of the Sith. They will be screening the original theatrical release of Star Wars that has now been restored. And For a New Hope. Yeah, the one that everyone talks about that they want to rewatch, the closest version is found on Laserdisc. We're talking about that version. So
they did have the original reels.
Yeah.
Or maybe it'll be recreated with AI.
Yeah, possibly. Sorry, I'm just trying to get Kirk reconnected here. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I'm looking forward to it.
Really helping me out here. All right.
It should be good. I mean, I feel like it's become pretty standard for these, I guess I'm going to call it a reunion anniversary stuff. There's so many films now that it's almost like every year is an anniversary for something. But obviously stuff for the main trilogy is probably the biggest deal, the original trilogy.
Have you guys actually seen the original movies, how they were originally done?
Like watched? You mean watched them? Just from the original cut?
Yeah.
I have watched a version I found online. That's the closest I've seen.
I'm trying to remember if I've seen like the original stuff, like OG, VHS release or something like that hidden in my dad's closet somewhere. Might have been like the first time ever. Of course, that would have been years ago, so I wouldn't remember it. I only really remember this stuff.
VHS version with no edits. I don't think so.
Because that's what they're doing next year, right? Is they're doing with the no edits? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
If they stick to that. I mean, I personally prefer without the gimmicky things like Mos Eisley.
It's been 10 years since we had The Force Awakens hit theaters. Did you have... This is the final thing on the list. Did you have anything to say about The Force Awakens, seeing as we've hit 10 years already?
It'd be great for them to do 2 really good follow-up movies after that.
Savage.
No, you know what? I think I actually do look forward to putting The Force Awakens back on and watching it again. I still remember so much anticipation for it back in the day, and getting out of the theaters and still really enjoying it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I look forward to. I think it's the one film where I'll as soon from the sequels where I'll watch, and it's mostly enjoyable. Although I have to admit, after watching Andor, it's kind of like, the Empire's back again. So that's the one of the only kind of hiccup I have. But anyway, 10 years. Wow, 10 years flies, doesn't it? It's gone by so quickly.
10 years just goes by so fast these days because Force Awakens doesn't feel like 10 years old, but it is.
No, that's
So
that is very crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts.
It gets so much worse as you get older. I'm afraid to have a good nap now because I feel like a decade's going to blow by.
Right. Yeah, I feel you. And that is the year in review for 2025. So
I will say a lot more happened than it felt like in the moment. It felt like such a slow year.
It did, yeah. I guess, I mean, to top things off, I mean, I know we did already talk a little briefly about kind of what we did on the podcast recently, but we also had a lot of new updates to the past episodes. Went back. We have new album artwork for, I guess, most of those older sub-series now. We also did our final Star Wars Orbit Key giveaway this past year, which was fun. We had multiple winners on that, and the Star Wars line ended from Orbit Key, which now they have a new Disney lineup, so go and check that out. We did Star Wars Celebration coverage. We had all the after shows for all of the Star Wars stuff that happened this past year, Andor, Tales, Visions, so on and so forth. We had the launch of Star Wars Launchpad, which was our kind of AI experimental thing, and that was kind of interesting because, even though no one listens to it, it's there was like a couple of episodes that we've done, and I still pump one out every month.
I listened to it, Josh.
Kirk listens to it. Okay,
I listened to it.
Awesome.
I listened to the one episode you made me watch.
the one that I shoved a link down your throat.
Watch this or else.
Dak and me are feeling pretty sad over there, so go and subscribe to Star Wars Launchpad.
As the time of this podcast, they don't have feelings, but that might evolve in a few years' time. We don't know.
Yeah.
And I might regret to say that when the uprising occurs.
They might need their memory wiped.
Yeah.
What was that, Sean?
No, I was trying to remember if this was also the year that we were like, you were testing with like the McDonald's, oh my goodness. the AI like making of songs and stuff like that. Was that this year too, or was that last year?
We've done it twice.
We were like making up the songs, and then we were voting on them. I can't remember.
Yes, that was the AI music. Yeah, that was
Watto's Lament.
Watto's Lament. Yeah, that was I think that was already last year. Was that last year?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to remember.
I think that was last year.
Or was it tail end of last year? Okay,
yeah, it was like right at the very end of last year, I think. Yeah.
So you're right. It's time for another one.
Dashing through the snow on a tauntaun through the ice. Over hearts we go, slicing wampus twice. Lightsabers gleam so bright, rebels sing and play. What fun it is to ride and fight on this galactic sleigh. Hark bells, Jedi save the day. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a sleigh that's lightspeed gray. Hark bells, Force is here to stay. With Yoda as an elf in green and Ewoks yelling, yay! Chewie's got the reins, Han is cracking jokes, Leia's wrapping gifts for all the Jedi folks. Droids hum Christmas tunes, R2's blinking lights, Vader's wearing red too soon and starting snowball fights. Hark bells, Jedi save the day. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a sleigh that's lightspeed gray. Hark bells, Force is here to stay. With Yoda as an elf in green and Ewoks yelling, yay! Now the ground is right, doing one you're young. It's made for girls tonight, and sing this same song. Droids hum Christmas tunes, R2's blinking lights, Vader's wearing red too soon and starting snowball fights. Hark bells, Jedi save the day. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a sleigh that's lightspeed gray. Hark bells, Force is here to stay. With Yoda as an elf in green and Ewoks yelling, yay!
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. Okay. We'll do it in 2026.
Okay.
We also had the launch of our Cantina Banter sub-series, which was basically because there was a bit of a slow moment this past year. We had Cantina Banter that really helped kind of bridge the gap in a few weeks that we didn't have anything going on. So that was really cool.
And it was kind of a return to what inspired this podcast in the first place.
Yeah, I feel like it was. And,
I've enjoyed those episodes.
Brings it full circle.
I hope they're as fun to listen to as they are to create.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll do more. We'll do more in the new year, and next year we'll do a look forward. I think in a few weeks when we have more information to collect. But as we clock out here, and just say one thing you're looking forward to in 2026, Darian, let's start with you.
I'm definitely looking forward to that new video game. RTS needs to make a comeback. I've never played the XCOM style, but it should be interesting at the very least.
Ooh, I will keep it pretty simple and say Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm actually looking forward to it, despite what some people say. I always like hearing the score, and going to see it on the big screen, it should be a pretty good time.
I'm also probably on that same bus with the Mandalorian and Grogu, but if Ahsoka comes out, I'll also be pretty excited about that too.
Nice. Oh yeah, I guess there's no announcement for when that'll come out yet. So yeah, you're right. That could come out next year in fall or something like that, maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Blake, what are you looking forward to next year?
I feel like we should know the same thing. I'm looking forward to going back to the theaters. I feel like it's been so long since we watched a new Star Wars show in the theaters.
It'll have been 6 years.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. Something
massive
like that. Crazy.
detour.
Yeah.
So that and the Ryan Gosling movie as well.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I think that's the year after, but yeah, we'll definitely have a trailer by next year at some point. So yeah. Cool. I'm very much looking forward to Star Wars Galactic Racer. Just to mix it up a little bit here. Obviously, I'm very excited to head back to the theaters. But I'm very much looking forward to all the things we have to watch. I mean, Maul Shadow Lord, Ahsoka Season 2, all coming out next year. So we got lots to look forward to, and very glad that we do. Then we got 50 years of Star Wars after that, and I'm sure there's going to be some big announcements happening for the golden age, the golden anniversary, 50 years. All right. Thank you all so much for a fantastic year. Thank you, Shauna, Darian, Kirk, Blake. May the Force be with you.
We'll see you out there.
Merry Stiffness.
Keep flying.
And a rebel-free New Year.